Technically, Stevie.
No surprise.
I'm sure you can do better today. Let's start off with the group stages, shall we? Interesting start. You've got Russia. Russia are terrible going through.
Well, with Salah being injured, I think that depletes Egypt. You know, because he's their main guy. Russia being at home, I think that's why they go through.
Spain, Portugal, France, Denmark, Argentina, Nigeria. Nigeria ahead of Croatia.
I just think Nigeria are the team that are going to upset a few.
Brazil, Switzerland.
A tough one. It was either Costa Rica or Switzerland. I've gone for Switzerland because of the strength.
Max Brels have got Mexico going through to the semi-finals. You haven't even got them getting out of the group stages.
No, because the deciding game will be between Sweden and Mexico, and I think Sweden have shown getting to the World Cup that when it matters, they get it done.
How hard was it to put England through?
It wasn't easy. You're so lucky that it was either them or Tunisia and Panama. So even I couldn't. Or even I could not put England through.
Colombia and Poland, meanwhile, make up the round of 16. Let's take it through to the bracket then, shall we? Starting on this side, Spain, Russia. Who have you got?
I think this is pretty straightforward, no question. Spain does Russia, who'll do well to get there anyway.
Argentina, Denmark. Any argument for Denmark?
No.
They'll
be stuffy, but not good enough to beat Argentina.
They'll be stuffy?
Yeah.
Is that...
That's a term, yeah. It's a term.
Germany, Switzerland.
Yeah, it's got to be Germany. Again, Switzerland will be strong opponents, but just they don't have the quality that Germany have.
Now, what about this, Mr. Nicol? Colombia, England.
I'm going to say Colombia, just because I hate England anyway.
Fair enough. But
because Colombia are just better than England.
Really?
As a unit,
blah.
as individuals,
Good.
you name it, Colombia are better than England.
All right, then, Colombia to go through to the quarter-finals. Let's take it to the other side of the bracket then, shall we? Starting off with Uruguay against Portugal.
I just don't see Portugal producing too much. They'll be stuffy. And that's not
new word you've made up.
And that's not good. That means that you'll just work hard. So I don't think Portugal are good enough.
Never heard you use the word stuffy before.
Well, you better get used to it.
Right.
I'm going to go Uruguay.
Uruguay?
Yes.
Meanwhile, France, Nigeria.
Nigeria will be very stuffy. No, listen, you got to go for France. You look at the quality.
Go on then, just put it through. I don't have to explain everything.
Well, don't ask me then.
Brazil, Sweden.
Brazil.
Belgium, Poland.
Tough one. I'm going to go for the individual talent that Belgium have over Poland.
I thought you hate Lukaku.
Oh, he won't be playing, will he?
Right, okay. Okay, let's take it through to the semi-finals. There were the quarter-finals. Uruguay, France.
I've got to go with France again. Griezmann, going to be a handful. Sorry, Uruguay. France go through.
You're not really sorry.
I am.
Brazil, Belgium.
Brazil. I don't see him beating Brazil.
Okay. All right, then.
Not even Belgium.
What a semi-final that'll be. Meanwhile...
Not even Belgium with Lukaku.
Let's just take it to the other side. Spain, Argentina.
I just think that as good as both sides are individually, Spain are a far better team.
Right.
And even though Argentina do have Messi, it's not going to be enough.
No.
Spain, for me, takes this.
Meanwhile, Germany, Colombia.
Yeah, I just can't back against the Germans. Colombia, on their day, can beat anybody in this tournament, but it depends what day it is. And on this day, it won't be good enough.
What day it is?
Yeah.
Colombia can beat anyone.
Colombia, on their day, can beat any team in this tournament.
Really?
They just don't have the consistency.
Where do you get this from?
It's a World Cup. You've got to do it over a period of time.
Okay, let's take it to the semi-finals.
Did you watch the qualifiers or not?
Of course I did.
Yeah, clearly not.
France against Brazil.
Can't go against Brazil. As good as France are, Brazil for me are the
side. So could Colombia beat Brazil on their day?
If Brazil are at the worst and Colombia is at their best, then yes.
That's complete change.
Don't ask the question if you don't want the answer.
Spain against Germany.
I'm going to go with Spain because of De Gea.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So then, Brazil, Spain in the 2018 World Cup final. According to Steve Nicol, who will win it all?
Brazil. The best team
at this. There you go.
The best team at this tournament. No question for me. Favourites, the team to beat.
Steve Nicol, thank you very much. No technical problems.
No.
ESPN FC, of course, back tomorrow. We'll get... Well, Craig's back. Maybe he'll do the predictor. I'm sure he'll be very keen.
Oh, why? Right.
The possibility of Icardi going to Chelsea Is this simply, Paolo, than putting the fact that Sarri may be going to Stamford Bridge and therefore, of course, he'd want Icardi to go?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Icardi, again, is someone who would really look at that necessarily as the right career move for them right now. Icardi's waited a long time to play in the Champions League at Inter. He's often talked about being happy in Milan. Whether that's true or not, I find it sort of hard to believe that he would wait all this time to finally qualify for that competition and then immediately go and sign for someone who's not going to be taking part in it.
What do you think of Icardi?
You know what? That is a lot of goals playing in a team that's not particularly great. And if you're the top scorer in Serie A, well, he was last year and a couple of seasons ago as well. This guy's got talent. This guy scores goals. This guy should be in the Champions League, and he should be with one of the top teams.
I mentioned Sarri there. Obviously, Ancelotti coming in now at Napoli. So what happens to Sarri and his future, Paolo?
Well, for the moment, Aurelio De Laurentiis, who's the Napoli owner, is certainly known for digging his heels in. He's doing exactly that. He's saying, hey, we've signed a new manager. We've got someone else coming in to lead our first team, but we haven't actually cut our contract with this guy. So if you want him, come pay the €7 million release clause. Now, that release clause actually only runs till the end of May, and he's also saying if you don't do it by the time the release clause is in effect, then we might charge you even more. So yeah, De Laurentiis is trying to extract his value from the situation, and honestly, if past experience is our guide, he's pretty good at doing that. He's not a man to back down easily in these negotiations.
This is what João Santos had to say about his client, Jorginho. I know that an offer has arrived from Manchester City to Napoli. We're waiting for the Italians' response. I don't think they've rejected offers. If Napoli find an agreement with City, we'll evaluate everything. Obviously, Manchester City will be very welcome and couldn't be turned down. Positive stuff there, of course, from Jorginho's agent. Paolo, how likely is this deal to get done, and how good of an addition would he be to the City squad?
I think it's very likely to get done. It's no secret that Pep Guardiola has been quite a big admirer of this Napoli team over the last couple of years, and I think there's also no question that Jorginho is the man that really makes that team tick. Everyone likes to focus on the attack, and the attack is sensational, but he's the guy who picks the passes. He's the guy who orchestrates things from the centre of the park. Of course, you look at that Man City team, and there's so much competition for places. You think, will he be able to take on quite such a central role? Will he be able to play the pivot for the whole team like he did in Naples? But he's a tremendous passer of the ball. He's got great vision. I think he's a fantastic footballer. So why not, I guess?
Paolo, is it a case that he would come in as cover for Fernandinho? Is it that kind of like for like, or is he a bit more attacking?
A less physical player than Fernandinho, I'd say. He's not necessarily more attacking. He's often sort of compared in Italy with Andrea Pirlo. There's some comparison there for certain, but he's very much that. Well, there's differences with Pirlo. He is that sort of metronome. He's the guy who likes to just sit in the middle of the park and orchestrate. Again, play the quarterback, be the guy who sees everything and picks the pass that starts the move. I think that's really his role there. It's not even the final assist. It's not the ball over the top that unleashes the attacker. It's the guy who sees the beginning of the move and plays that first ball a lot of the time.
Apparently, Manchester City just in for a couple of players this summer. Jorginho, one of them. Riyad Mahrez, the other one. And before we discuss what you make of that, boys, let me just remind you of what Manchester City's attacking lineup looks like. Aguero, Jesus, Sané, Sterling, De Bruyne, Silva, Fernandinho, Silva, Gundogan, Delphin, Foden. Do you need Riyad Mahrez?
Listen, as a coach, I've said it before, it's good to have great players, but there comes a time when you can have too big a squad, and then you start getting grumblings from people that are not playing. I mean, if I'm Bernardo Silva, for example, I'm sitting in a house and I'm thinking, hold on a second, I've only just managed at the end of the season to get a game more regularly. Now they're bringing a guy in who plays in my position. I mean, so sometimes you can actually cause a little bit of unrest. As good as it is to have good players and plenty of them, you can cause a little friction by having too many.
They just have too many players that are similar to Riyad Mahrez. So if you're going to bring in a player into Manchester City, it's because this player is going to improve you. It's going to make you better, even better than what you were the year before, or gives you flexibility as Jorginho would for Fernandinho, where you can give a rest to Fernandinho, maybe Jorginho steps into that position. Riyad Mahrez is going to have to get in the back of the line. That
Take
is
a number, yeah.
Yeah, that is led by De Bruyne and David Silva and Bernardo Silva and so on and so forth, and Leroy Sané and Raheem Sterling. He doesn't. Where is the space for him? It's just not there.
So how much of a consideration is it from his part? This may be a stupid question, obviously Leicester at the moment. Would it make you think about that move to City? If you thought, well, actually, how much playing time am I really going to get? Or is there not even a consideration because you're going to Manchester City and you know the success that you'll have with them?
It really is. It really is about why you're going. If you want to play football, you're not going to Manchester City. If you want to go and just be a bit part player, take the money,
win trophies as well,
pick up a few medals, then that's the place to go. If you're a real man, a real footballer, if you've got anything about you, you don't settle for sitting on your backside other than 12 or 13 games a season. I don't call that a proper footballer.
Can I just say that this may be a reaction by Riyad Mahrez in that he didn't get the transfer when he wanted it. Maybe he was going to Arsenal, maybe he was going elsewhere. Now this is his opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to take it. I want out of Leicester.
The future of Morata very much up in the air as well, Paolo. Links him returning to Italy. Obviously, his reputation in somewhat tatters after that first season in the Premier League. I imagine still quite a few clubs would have him in Serie A.
Yeah, absolutely. Juventus would have him back for certain, but I think that the issue always for Italian clubs is that the price has to be right. The money is not there in the same way as it is in the Premier League. What Chelsea paid for him is not what Chelsea would get for him from a club like Juventus. Juventus would definitely take him if they thought the deal was there because he did good things for them during a couple of seasons in Turin.
Would you stick with him? Any chance?
I'll stick with him, but not as a top-line striker. But then again, he's paid like a top-line striker. And so that's the issue here, is that how much are you willing to live with a guy that really didn't answer the call? And he was disappointing, not only to Chelsea, but more importantly to the panel of this show.
Yeah, because I think you all said that you'd have Morata over Lukaku.
Yeah, and we were all wrong. I'll tell you that much.
He had a standout season for Roma, didn't he, Allison? And there's a lot of speculation about his future at the moment, Paolo. We're hearing incredible numbers, like 80 million for a switch maybe to the Premier League. I suppose, is he worth it? And could it happen?
I always find it hard to say whether a player's worth a number nowadays because you can always find a player to compare him to, which is good value, and a player to compare him to where it's bad value. I think Roma are serious, though, about asking for that sort of money. He's under contract until, I think, 2021. James Pallotta, the owner, said only about a month ago, we're not selling him at all. So I think it's going to take a big sum of money to get him. And I do think he's a phenomenal goalkeeper. I mean, you think about all the praise that Edison has had in the Premier League this season. Allison is the guy keeping Edison out of the Brazil starting lineup, and deservedly so. He's been phenomenal for Roma this season.
So then, Steve Nicol. Paolo makes a good point. Numbers don't really matter anymore.
No, correct.
But budgets are only so big. So if, for example, Liverpool have 100 million to spend in the summer, that's what Jurgen Klopp is given.
Yep.
Would you spend 80 million on Allison?
In a heartbeat.
Really? That'd be it?
Do you know, we kind of sat here and mulled over the price tag for Van Dijk.
Yep.
Did Van Dijk make a difference? My goodness, did he make a difference? This team was transformed with Van Dijk in it. So you imagine what would happen if they got Allison? I mean, you know, if you want to go for the big prizes, right, you need to have good players. And good players cost money. But you know what? Liverpool have the money. So if you've got the money, you spend it tomorrow or in 10 minutes' time if you get the opportunity.
But you're putting all your eggs in a goalkeeping basket, considering how you could reinforce the squad elsewhere with that money.
So do I buy two average players or one great player? I buy the great player.
Do you agree, Ali?
Well, if you're sure that Allison is your guy and Liverpool is sure that this is the guy they want to go after, they better get on it quickly. Because then this guy has a good World Cup with Brazil, and then maybe others come into play and say, you know what, we want a piece of that too. And that only raises the price of the player. So if you're sure this is your guy, commit to it, make a decision prior to the World Cup.
Hello, welcome to Extra Time. Ali, Stevie, Paolo's here as well. Should we get straight to it?
Yeah, sure.
What else are you going to do?
Well, we have a little bit of chit-chat sometimes. No, sometimes I ask you how you are, what you've been up to.
We're not really interested, so what's the point?
Does Chelsea really need to sack Conte? Why not back him in the transfer market this summer and see what happens? 2 trophies back-to-back and his football is better than Mourinho. Come on!
I think there's too much water going under the bridge over the last season. I think clearly the players I've lost trust in Conte. I think you can see that with the performances.
Come on!
And when you fall out with every other person, it seems, in the organisation, I mean, those two things, it's a long way back to... It's a long way back to get the trust that you actually had the previous season. I just don't see it working out at all. Time to move on.
Come on.
Maybe.
No.
Paolo, do you think Buffon will continue as starter at PSG? He actually was rotating with Szczęsny, who made 17 league appearances. This, of course, the room that Buffon is going to France.
I imagine that what Buffon will want is to be a Champions League starter. I think he'll be quite content if he does indeed end up at PSG to let the league games go and let someone else take a good share of those, as he did with Szczęsny at Juventus. But what he wants, what he said repeatedly, is the one thing missing from his career is that Champions League trophy. So that's what he'll be interested in. Am I going to start in the European games?
He'll be suspended, won't he?
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
After his shenanigans at the Bernabeu?
Yeah.
Let's stick with goalkeepers.
Alright.
Should Liverpool go for Butland rather than Allison or Oblak, who is cheaper and has proven himself in the Premier League?
No, I would prefer, if I had a choice.
Yeah, who would you have, Oblak or Allison?
That's not what I meant to say, but
You moved this
I've just
table.
put myself in there.
So Butland's at the bottom.
Do you know, I don't think you can actually make a mistake. If you get Allison or Oblak, I don't think you make a mistake.
Which one would you want?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. I would say Allison's probably better with his feet.
Right.
But then Oblak is fantastic shot stopper. I don't think you lose whichever one you get between Allison or Oblak, who I think are way ahead of Butland.
Who would you have, Allison or Oblak?
You know I love me some
You
Allison.
do love Allison, don't you?
Roma fans don't love me that much.
Well, there we
So
go.
maybe I'll pick Oblak.
Does Steve Nicol still think that Ramos is a world-class defender?
They hold you by the
Do you know-
goodie,
The old...
See, here's the thing. Every time this question comes up,
which is every day.
Mr. Ramos keeps making my point. I mean, the fact that he should have got sent off in the final for elbowing Karius in the face, I mean,
But he didn't.
to be
He
a
won-
world
he
class,
won another trophy.
I know he did, but to be a world class player, you need everything, and that includes composure. I mean, the guy's got. The guy doesn't have. There's no such thing in his.
But he's a winner.
But he's a winner, yes. He's a guy you love on your team. He upsets the opposition, and he's ferocious in the challenge, and he can score some goals in the opposition penalty box. But to be world class, you need a lot of things, and a lot of that is composure. And as a defender, he doesn't have composure.
Paolo, what do you make of Sergio Ramos? Of course, seems to be quite a polarising character, even more so after the final at the weekend. Which side of the fence do you stand?
I think he's a very good defender. I think he's a very aggravating player to play against, and that, in one sense, is actually part of what makes him a great defender. I think the fact that he winds up attackers so much, and not always with entirely above-board means, but nevertheless, he succeeds in doing it, and he takes people out of their game. And I think that makes him someone who, in the end, is valuable to have in your lineup. I think he certainly has ways of making himself, for fans at least, also quite dislikable. But I suppose in the end, I come down on the side of if you're the guy running the team, you'd rather have the guy who ends up on the winning side.
So he didn't say he was world class. Which was the question.
No, it wasn't the question, actually. I didn't ask him the question.
Oh, you're making your own up.
Yes.
Well, what's the point of having all that stuff at the front then with...
Well, because I asked you if he was world-class, and then I went on to Paolo, because I assume Paolo thinks he's world-class.
Okay. And he didn't agree with you.
Oh, no, Paolo, is he world-class then?
All right, here we go.
I think he is world class. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So.
You okay, Steve?
He's world class, all right, aye. He's not a defender.
Hey, can we go home, Steve, or is there another question?
No.
Do you agree with Messi's comments that Argentina is not among the favourites for the World Cup?
That's Captain Deflecto. That's saying, hey, look somewhere else. Don't look at us. But when you have the best player in the world as part of your team, and the storyline that would be him leading Argentina to a World Cup title, they're obviously going to be in the conversation. There's a lot of talent in that team. The question is whether they can defend and whether you can get important goals from somewhere else other than Lionel Messi.
That's it. We are done. Thank you very much, as always, for the token Sergio Ramos question.
Yes.
As well for Stevie.
Yeah.
Are you back tomorrow?
Shock, what a shock the answer
You
was,
back
though.
tomorrow, Steve?
No, I'm off tomorrow.
No, you?
I'm off tomorrow as well.
And who's back?
Is MD
Craig
bothered him?
Burley returns tomorrow.
Thank God I'm
Oh,
off then.
there you go. That's why we're off.
Yeah.
Shaka will be with him.
Hey.
Adrian as well, I believe. Be sure to join them.